So before I put my fabric into the hoop, I always find it useful to find the centre of the fabric first, and that helps you when you start to stitch because you can then make sure you're starting at the centre of the Aida as well as the centre of the pattern. So to do that, when your Aida comes, you want to fold it in half. So just make sure the two lines are matching up and do it like that. And then you want to fold it in half again. And this little edge here is the bit that you want to, I tend to give it a bit of a thumb and finger press, open it back up, and you can see that's where the centre of your Aida is. And then what I tend to do is I'll just use like an offcut of a small piece of thread. I'm just going to do on this really centre bit that we just made the crease on, I'm just going to put the thread through. So I'm kind of doing part of a cross stitch, not the full thing. And then give this a press, because when it comes in any sort of kit, you want to make sure that you get any of the creases out before you hoop it up. So once the Aida is pressed and you've kept that teeny tiny stitch in at the centre, you place that to one side. And then this is your embroidery hoop. So these come in a whole range of different sizes. So you can get them, you can get square ones, you can get oval ones. This is a really nice circle size, and it tends to have the size on there. So you can kind of line it up with whatever size pattern is that you're using. So to put your Aida into the hoop, sometimes you have to loosen the screw a little bit, and you want to separate the two parts of the hoop like this. So the one with the screw on is your outer hoop, and this is your inner hoop, the one without the screw. And you can see that that inner hoop fits just inside like this. So once you've separated the two hoops, put the outer hoop, the one with the screw, to one side, and this is your inner hoop. You're going to place your Aida over the top. Now what you want to do, I'll just move that out of the way, this centre stitch that you made, you want to kind of get that as centered in your hoop as possible. And you can sort of feel where the edges of the hoop are, so you can sort of get a rough idea. And again, just a rough idea is absolutely fine. The joy about using this is that you can move the hoop around if you need to. So once you're happy with roughly where it is, you can then place your outer hoop on top. And this might be where you might have to loosen the screw a little bit more. By loosening the screw, you're allowing this hoop to widen a little bit. And this is quite good because obviously the Aida can sometimes be quite thick. So with your inner hoop flat on the table, you've put your Aida over the top with that centre stitch as centred in the middle of the hoop as possible. And you're then going to place the outer hoop on top and push it down. And this is why it really helps to do on a flat surface, because you can kind of have that resistance and push back with it. So you can see that I'm just pushing it all the way down, and it's sort of holding the fabric there. So at this point I'd probably take it off the table and just try and make sure that the edges of the hoop, try and see if I can get that into shot, so it's not sort of protruding, the inner hoop isn't coming up out of it, it's holding it nice and tight. And then what you want to do is you want to tighten this, and this makes sure that your fabric is held nice and taut within the hoop. So just keep doing that. And then once you've tightened it a bit, you want to go round and just gently use your thumb and finger just to make sure that the Aida isn't sagging. You want it to be nice and taut in here, and this helps to make sure that all your stitches are nice and even. So you kind of just keep working your way around, and then normally when you've kind of eased the fabric out a little bit, you might need to tighten this up. The other thing that can be really useful is if you get a little screwdriver, and you can then pop that in the screw on there, and that can just help to tighten up a little bit. And then just keep working around. And I always think that you can see it from this side. So you've now got, this is your inner hoop, and this will be the back of your work. and then this is your outer hoop with the centre stitch in the middle. And if you tap it like that, you should almost hear like a drum noise, and then that means that is nice and taut and ready to start your cross stitch.